Hold on. Yes, and him. But it gets worse for him. Now, remember, she's a guest on his show.
His show.
His show, ladies and gentlemen. His show, once again, The Truth. That's what he called it.
She either solicited to be on his show or he asked her and she said yes.
Right.
So this was not under duress.
No, it wasn't. She also then tells Vivek that she agreed with many of his views, but wouldn't have voted for him because he was Indian. So she's on his podcast. Yeah. She agrees with his politics. Yeah. Agrees with the majority of his views. And says, I still wouldn't have voted for you for president because you're Indian. And she says, I'll get into that later. What was Vivek's response to all of this stuff? Well, he chuckled when she made the comment about black folks. He was stone cold, looking straight into the camera when she said that thing about him.
Yes.
And so I have this question. I have this conversation oftentimes with minorities, and a lot of times, especially here in the DC area, I found that a lot of black people didn't find the former Washington professional football team derogatory because they were fans of the football team. Yeah. And they didn't want their feel good taken away. And I would always point out, that term is pretty racist. And then they would do something similar to what white people would do to some black people. And they would say, well, some of them don't mind it, which was true. Like there were some Native Americans that did not mind the term, but
I think they found the two who didn't.
Right. You can always find two. Yeah. You can always find two that's going to back up whatever arguments you make. But it's funny to me if you're a person of color, which is what Vivek is, and you take offense to, and he didn't say anything. You could just tell in his face, like, what'd she just say? You take offense to somebody attacking your culture, but you don't take offense to somebody attacking another culture. And it's racist both ways. Yeah. You got to be called to task for that. That's just my opinion. What you think?
Well, I have my own theory about it that I want to get to after you explain exactly what happened in this interview. Okay. But I'm going to tell you exactly why that does not apply in this situation.
Okay. Well, let me finish going through the rundown of the interview. So Vivek did respond to that Indian comment, and he was polite in his way of doing it, which I wouldn't have been, stating that his skin color doesn't determine his loyalty to his country. He explained that immigrants or their children might have stronger loyalty than a seventh generation American who hates their own country. I don't really know where that dig was coming from, but okay. Coulter had a counter response to that. She defended her remark after realizing it's a racial overtone. So she realized that it was racial, but still defended it. And this is how she defended it. She argued that the core national identity of the U.S. was WASP. WASP-based, which is white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Yes. And that doesn't mean that the U.S. can't take in other people, but that the core national identity is WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. People in the public been bashing her for her comments, but she doesn't care.
Yeah. No, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care. Vivek, at the end of the interview was just like, hey, man, he praised her for her candor and, just thanked her for being a guest and, said that he disagreed with some of her things, but, still thank you for coming on my show. So that was basically the rundown to the. If you like that clip, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to catch up on all of our latest content. Don't forget to hit the notification button when you do subscribe so you can get updated every time we release content. We release content every day, whether it's an actual show or clips from the shows. So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Also, don't forget our Patreon page where you can find our Talking Straight-ish and After Hours Uncensored episodes. That's patreon.com/unsolicited perspectives. But once again, thank you again for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'll holla.